The Do This podcast is part of the Win, Make, Give podcast network. Join hosts Bob Stewart and Chad Hyams as they dive into the world of real estate recruiting with insights from guest Kevin Kauffman. Kevin is a seasoned real estate professional and co-founder of the Kevin and Fred Real Estate Group based in Tempe, Arizona. Kevin discusses the shift from selling homes to recruiting talent, mastering CRM tools like Brivity, and the art of prospecting and hiring effectively. Whether you're interested in building a real estate team or refining your recruitment skills, this episode offers valuable insights for all levels. We hope you enjoy this episode of the Do This podcast presented by Brivity.
Hey, before we have too much fun, gentlemen, we should invite some people to come join us. So we're going to let our friends in now. Barry and Ethan, Ricardo, Sierra, how you doing? They're all here, I think. They might not even know why they're here. Maybe they just show up, Chad, because they feel like every Thursday at 10:30 Pacific time, we bring somebody smarter than us, that's for sure.
Way smarter than us every week.
Come and talk
Who's that going to be this week?
We're still waiting for them to show up.
Yeah, they'll be here.
Okay,
they'll
good.
be here. They're late. No, we bring somebody in real estate who's doing something, and they're going to share what they're doing, and maybe you guys will learn something from them. So today, our friend for Do This is Kevin Kauffman. Kevin, how you doing, man?
Doing great, man. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. We were having a little bit of fun. Chad and Kevin and I have known each other for, I don't know, going on 2 decades now. We've run in similar circles. We've been friends for a while, but none of that matters today, Kevin. We're gonna grill you good, and I think we're gonna talk about recruiting. I made a joke,
good.
Kevin. I made a joke because I know you work hard. You're everywhere. I see you all the time. But you haven't been in personal production for like 11 years. Like, I'm assuming if one of your besties comes along or mom needs help or something, maybe you sell a house, but you're not like actively producing day in and day out in your guys' real estate business for the last 11 years, correct?
And that's so cool that you think I would even take my best friend's listing. You think highly of me more so than what I deserve, so I'll take that.
All right. Okay.
I'll
Kevin
remember
does
not to buy a house in your neighborhood because you're not helping me, it sounds like.
Yeah. Kevin does.
I'll help you. Just
Okay.
It'll be somebody else on my team helping you.
There you go. Exactly.
Now, we could have probably a full discussion with Kevin, it sounds like, around leverage.
Yep.
Because Kevin clearly knows how to. In fact, I bought a house with Kevin and his team, and Pete is who helped me. Kevin and Fred were always there if I needed something, but ultimately Pete was my real estate agent and did a fantastic job. And then I can't remember, somebody else helped us sell it, and it was Kevin and Fred, but it was their team as well. And so, Kevin, that's not what we're going to talk about. What we're going to talk about is, how did you go find Pete? How did you find a guy that you put with me who, had he messed it up, I could have went on the internet and screamed to everybody in the world, Kevin, Chad's calling.
Hang on.
Okay.
You and I know Kevin really well.
Oh, yeah, we got to do intros.
Right?
Sorry.
It's enough that we can give each other a hard time. Nobody else might have the same knowledge. So, Kevin, we're not reading some bio. We're not going to go on about you. Tell the world who you are, where you are, all that stuff, so they know who Kevin Kauffman is if for some reason they've been living under a rock.
Why we have Chad here? He keeps us honest. Okay, sorry.
Yeah. It's good. There's got to be one. There's got to be at least one of those guys in the room at all times. Otherwise, guys like us will just go wherever.
We could talk baseball cards for the next half hour. If Chad
Easily. Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. So Kevin Kauffman, as you mentioned, I've got a business partner, Fred Weaver. We are based in Tempe, Arizona, greater Phoenix area. Fred and I started working together in February of 2008. I'd been licensed for about 6-7 months at that time. We started a team effectively in 2008. We hired somebody that day, and we promised to try to pay him within a month. And luckily, it was also his brother, who was a musician at the time. So like, maybe getting paid within a month was totally cool and what he was used to. And we built a business around short sales, as you might imagine, in Phoenix, Arizona in 2008. The thing was, like, if you're familiar with that red book, the MREA, we built a team and a business that looked very similar to that. It's just that all of our listings, or most of our listings, happened to be short sales. Now that changed and evolved over the years. Our business model changed and evolved over the years. There's a guy that we all know really well. His initials might be BK, who really helped us in 2014 to kind of transition our business model to more of a, what I like to call the sales agents, where we were moving off this MREA model where there was like one listing agent, buyer's agent, and then like that buyer's agent had showing assistants. We didn't actually have multiple buyer's agents. And so we then shifted to, we want to scale this thing that we have, which means we need more people. And I wanted to get further and further away from what I like to call the living room, like from taking a listing. And so we made some really big changes in July and August of 2014 that has really been the foundation of what our business looks like today. Now, it's obviously evolved a lot in the last 11 years, but that was really the big shift for us. And that's where I knew I had to become a recruiter. I actually had to decide to become good at it. And I definitely started by sucking really, really bad.
Kevin,
I remember back then, probably a year or two before that, since he was leading you, when I was working with Ben, that he shifted his focus from, I'm not a lead generator, I'm lead generating for talent now, knowing that that was the big thing. That's a huge mindset shift for anybody in the industry. Can you talk a little bit more, Kevin, about going from, I'm recruiting to sell a house and find those buyers and sellers, which are one-offs, to now all of a sudden I'm recruiting to find talent that I can bring into my organization in one role or another that'll help us grow?
Yeah. The reason why we even got there is because I realized we'd hit a limit. I think we had sold, I don't know, 200 houses, 220 homes was like the most we'd ever sold at that point. And that was with Fred and I taking all the listings, basically. And we had like I said, a buyer's agent. And we realized, like, if we're going to do more, like mine and Fred's actual limit, if it's just me and him and some showing assistants, our limit's like really like 150 deals. Like, it's not that, we're not that great. Like, we're good. We're not that great. And so what I realized was it was going to require a lot more people if we were going to do something more than what we had currently done to that point. And that was the thought process of that. And I really wanted to get out of the living room. I didn't want to take the listings. And so probably because Ben and I sat in a lot of the same rooms together, my thought process went to, that just means I need to be around more. I got to be in business with more people, because I can only, let's say I could take, I'm making this number up. Let's say I can take 10 listings a month. Maybe I'm really good. Like, I know guys that are much better than I am, guys and gals that can do 15 or 20 a month. I never could. Like 10, 12 was my limit. And so I went, well, if I wanted to take more than 10 or 12 listings in a month, maybe if I just had more people taking listings, even if they can't take 10 a month, but they can take 2 or 3 or 5 a month, I can just get a lot of them. And then we could collectively take a lot of listings. That was the thought process that I went through.
I go right back to like Ben always talking about, like, his mindset was, I got up each day trying to find a buyer or seller. And I just decided I was going to get up each day to try to find an agent who would bring the 10 or 12 buyers or sellers to the table. Right?
That's right.
It really is, I don't know. It really is almost that easy. like Kevin, right? Your focus just went from, I'm going to go find somebody's living room to sit in, to like, I'm going to find a coffee shop to meet a real estate agent at, or I'm going to find a webinar. Like, was it that easy? Like, were you just, your prospecting changed from one target to a different target?
I would say it was that simple. It was hard.
Okay. That's fair.
Not easy. It was hard because I had to learn a new skill. Not unlike, I'm a new agent and I've got to learn a skill of how to work with buyers. And then it's like completely different to get a seller to hire you. Like, that's a whole new skill. It was brand new. Like, I went from, so it was simple. And yes, all I did was change the focus of what I was personally after and what I was going to go prospect for and the type of appointments I was going to hold. But it was hard in the sense that like, dude, I put in the work. I really, really put in the work. And I mean this for both hiring agents, recruiting agents, and recruiting talent to work on our staff, like on the administrative and operations side. Both, like, I took that part, and Fred sort of took the mess that I would create with that and made it work. But like, I went out and, dude, I said, I just committed to it. And I would meet with and interview basically anybody that would let me. and I prospected like crazy to get those meetings. And that's really what it was. Like I just did I did the reps.
So I want to ask, Kevin, you had a because I know you as well as I know you, you had a charisma. You guys had a platform. You and Fred were known because of all the short sale stuff you did. You went out. I mean, you guys were hilarious and you were over the top with it. And you were really the first two to teach short sale techniques to the country when it comes to it. Did that help? I mean, did you just have people naturally coming to you, or when you went to become this prospector, was it just cold calling with good scripts? Somebody on this call right now that wants to build a team, do they need to go build a personality and a presence to attract to, or can they just be cold callers with good scripts and value on their team to recruit to?
The latter, because did I have that opportunity? Yes. In fact, the way we recruited up until that point was people came to us and basically asked us, could I join your team? Like I wasn't experienced enough or smart enough to realize that I could have used that platform. So by the time we got to 2014, where we realized like, oh, recruiting is actually something that has to happen every day, it had fizzled out. Like we were no longer teaching every week. We were no longer posting videos daily. So that had all fizzled out. And so I effectively had to start at nothing. And I would actually say, for learning purposes and foundation building purposes, that's a better place to start.
Where does Brivity tie in? I mean, how are you using it? I mean, we're here, right? They're the reason we're here. So
I need that background still. Did you send me that?
I sent it to you
Okay,
already.
all right, that's
it's not
my
a background. I had a construction crew build this and my wife decorate it. It's real. I swear. I'll knock the lamp here. All right. Kevin, I don't even remember what I was asking the guy anymore, right?
Brivity. You said something about where does Brivity come in?
Where does it come in? Let's just, we could talk about anything for hours, as we've said, but let's give Brivity some, how are you using it to help you recruit that other people can start using it as well?
Yeah, it's pretty simple. First of all, like any other prospecting, I need a CRM if I'm going to prospect people. So I got to have that. Brivity happens to have like Brivity Recruiter, so I'm able to post my job postings and have them refreshed with the AI as often as possible. So it allows me to do I'm going to say the quote unquote marketing side of it very easy, right? And then most importantly, that the CRM side, that relationship management side, all of the tools come into play. So whether it's here's where I've had to narrow my focus. Full transparency, you know me, like I'm willing to share my losses just as much as my wins. In the last 90 days or so, 45 of which was on vacation, I jumped back into recruiting for the team. And therefore, I've really jumped into Brivity. And what I've found is I've had to narrow my candidate pool because I have so many to choose from now that I need less, not more. And so I'm using like Brivity to help me do that. Number one, I have two types of candidates. They reply to a posting, and I have a cold list of people in real estate school. That's it. Nothing else currently, because right now that's more than Fred and I can handle in the amount of time that we have to work. And so I put people on auto plans when they come in. So there's some automated text messaging and emails that are going out. And then I do the craziest thing. This is the secret, the magic pill almost of recruiting. I do this super crazy thing where like I call them and I use a script.
Here I was expecting something awesome.
Like that's what I do. I make phone calls. The thing I've started doing in the last 7 days is making sure I'm sending more personal text as well. That's it. Like that is my entire game plan. And because that has worked so effectively, I'm actually reducing the pool of people that I even want to have an auto plan turned on for, or that I'm even calling, because I'm getting more than enough at bats.
I think in recruiting, like chasing real estate leads is a little bit different than chasing recruits in so much as if real estate leads don't reply to my auto plan, I'm going to probably turn another one on. I'm going to keep calling them because eventually when they're ready, but like to me, and look, Kevin, maybe correct me if I'm wrong here. If a real estate agent doesn't reply, do you just keep chasing them, or are you kind of like, if they like, they need to be capable of replying?
They
You know what I'm saying?
do. They do. And everyone's got their own timeline, Bob.
Yeah.
Like, this is
Okay.
one thing
That's fair.
I've learned about. I've sat with hundreds and hundreds of people in interviews. And one of the things I've learned is, yes, that can definitely be a big old red flag. And it can also just be like, it's just not their time. They're just not ready to make a move, to take a jump. But they might still be a great fit for you one day. And so if there's like, that's the beauty of an auto plan, right? Is like, I don't actually have to physically do something. And then, but I can re-engage old leads when I need more conversations or more appointments, all of that. So there's a degree that is true, but there's also like that human element of like, yeah, but it might not just be time.
Okay.
Kevin, I worked with someone who had a really big team. I'm not going to mention her name. You know her. Had a really big team. Her concept was revolving door is okay. Bring in as many as she could bring in onto the team, and she had a great reputation for it. Didn't care, because if 6 came on and 5 went right out, she was still +1, right? For her. There's the other mindset of, I'm not taking everybody. I know who I'm looking for that fits my culture, my world. But are you just bring them all in, folks, see who makes it through the filter and survives? Or are you more, no, I'm looking for these 5 or 10 qualities about a person to know they belong on Kevin and Fred's organization?
This is my limiting belief. I think there are very few, 0.0000001% can actually identify those 5 or 10 people. They think they can, but I've been surprised in the good way and the bad way too many times. And look, man, I'm a guy that studies human behavior. I'm fascinated by it. I don't think for a second that I can predict anything. And so I am filtering to a degree, but I'm filtering to make sure I don't hire assholes. Like, that's what I'm filtering for. And if 6 come in and 5 leave, I'm okay with that. I don't want that, but I am okay with that. And so I'll tell you, like, in my journey, it felt more like a revolving door. But here's the deal. If you can understand and wrap your head around the fact of they're going to leave because you either showed them the door or they thought something else was better or whatever, and simultaneously, you can try to provide so much value that they never want to leave. If you can figure out how to live in there, that's where the magic sauce comes in. And that's how, like, if you go look at my team today, take out the couple people I've hired in the last couple of months, like, our average tenure is probably close to 8 or 9 years. But there was a time where, dude, from the outside looking in, we look like a revolving door. And the reality is like, you can do both. It's no different than what Ben taught us a long time ago, which is, if you want the Navy SEALs, you got to hire the Navy. I just call total BS on anybody who thinks they can just identify a Navy SEAL. There's probably a couple savants out there. I just wouldn't be willing to let that be the model I followed, knowing that it's like a 0.00001% chance that I could do that.
Sure, none of us knew Bob was going to be successful.
No,
someone had to take the chance on him, right?
Same.
Yeah.
I'm still questioning it personally. So
yeah, Ben didn't even recruit you. You just kind of came along as the deal, right? I mean,
like, well, he wouldn't leave.
Yeah, I was in the basement with the stapler, and I'm like, I'm coming out of the basement, and Ben's not strong enough to stop me, so I'm out of the basement. Kevin, what do agents want? Like, you mentioned being in that middle ground where it's like, I don't care. Like, I'm not concerned if they want to leave, because I'm over here trying to add, value and bring a suite of tools and features and training and whatever it is to the table that make these people go, I've been here 8 years. I love it here. I'd never think about leaving. What do real estate agents want?
My question is, back to you for a second, Bob, would be, what do they think they want, or what do they actually want and need? because those are different things. It often presents like, I need leads. Like that's the most common thing. And that's like the least, I always tell people like, we have those, but it's like the least valuable thing that I'm going to provide.
So I want leads, and you ask better questions, and you realize they want a consistent income that can get rid of the stress of an up and down roller coaster of commissions.
Yes. And what they want is they want structure. They want to know that there's a plan, and they want to see you as a vehicle to get them where they want to go, wherever that is. Right. And so it's really no different than just when you talk to a client about what it is they want. We can just assume they all just want to buy a house, but why are they buying the house is significantly more important than anything else. Right. And so when we take the time to figure out what it is they really want and what they're after and provide that, like I've got a buddy, he owns the building right outside my door, next door. He's a marketing genius. Like his company is literally called the Genius Network. And he's got this saying that says, tell them what they want, but give them what they need. And that's kind of my approach.
So that you're selling them on the fact that, yeah, you can get them leads and get them a consistent income, but you're really giving them the system or the roadmap to go and do that.
A system, a roadmap, the leverage. I'm showing them that there's a model for how we do everything in this company. I'm showing them that there's a path for them if they, okay, so they're this wherever they are today, brand new agent, or just, they're an agent that just wants to make more money. I can show them that there's a path to, hey, however far you want to take this, I can help. Like I can help you become my peer. Like you could just become a place partner one day too, and I can help you get there. And you can get off at any stop that you want along the way. All of it's good. And I have no feelings about where you get off on this climb, as long as it's the thing that you want. And if it's the thing that you want, then I'm happy for you. But if it's the thing that you're just accepting because you're not willing to do what it takes, that's where I don't want to be around you.
How many, I don't know, interviews, meetings, appointments, whatever you want to call them with recruits, do you think you did before you had it figured out? Like how much practice did you have to do? How much did you work on that skill set?
You think he's got it figured out?
Well, I don't know. Until you at least didn't feel like a total clumsy fool walking in.
First of all, I'd like to acknowledge you throwing the word practice into that, Bob. That's well done. I'm assuming that's the word that you and Chad or you and Ben came up with, or maybe did all on your own. So good job on that. The thing is probably no different than when you thought you finally, quote unquote, figured out something as a real estate agent. So what I'll say to people, especially my friends that are like down on teams or they feel like leverage is hard, I'll ask them like, hey, how many homes did you sell before you felt like you figured it out? Or how many listing appointments did you go on before you felt like you kind of figured it out? The numbers I usually get are usually between 50 and 100. I'm like, that's awesome. Have you interviewed 100 people? No. Or even if they say that's great, have you hired 100 people? The answer is always no. Have you trained 100 people? The answer is always no. For me, on the interview side, it was somewhere north of 100. I don't know, but I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't have anything figured out. I just feel comfortable doing it. And my guess is it probably took more than 100 reps before I really kind of like felt comfortable. And that's the thing I tell people about recruiting and leverage is like, you just think having a team is hard or hiring people is hard because you just haven't done it enough. It is hard for you because you suck at it. That's why, because you haven't done it enough.
Kevin, where's your most unique success story? I remember Ben coming in one day, and when I was working with him in the office, and he introduced me to a door-to-door vacuum salesman who he recruited, right? Or he introduced to me his coffee girl who he recruited, and you know who they are. Do you have, I mean, are you just focused on real estate people, or are you out there at a restaurant and going, oh my gosh, this waiter is brilliant, and going into recruiting mode? What's your most unique success story?
I can think of a door-to-door solar salesman that came on and did a really great job. I can think of a salesperson at a Lucky Jeans.
Like you're in Lucky Jeans buying some Lucky Jeans and you're like, wow, this lady is really magnetic and she could like do great things. And you just approached her and asked her if she'd ever consider getting into real estate?
100%. Yeah. I used to go every December 26th because Lucky would always have a big sale the day after Christmas. And this one, I remember, was Chandler Mall. I think it was 2013 or 14. No, it was 14. And she blew me away. And I was like, why are you selling jeans? Yeah.
Folks, I want you to hear that, right? There's talent everywhere that's trapped in the wrong place because maybe they don't know better or have somebody who believes in them to push them, to challenge them, to help them with the models and systems you have. So don't sit there and be like, oh, I just got to keep cold calling all these realtors. You need to have your radar on all the time.
All the time. Like, and I like, there's a tip that I want to add to that. Always, like, you got to always be thinking about it, like truly looking for talent. I had somebody teach me early on, and when I say early, I'm like, I hadn't even been licensed 2 years. And the topic of recruiting came up in this kind of like this mastermind conversation I was in. And he said, well, hold on a second. I want you guys to always be like, I want you to be recruiting all day, every day. Like, of course you're recruiting buyers and sellers, but if you should be looking for talent for your team, you should be recruiting people to coach your kids' softball team, you're a piano, instructor, whatever. Like, you should always be thinking about recruiting, because your ability to go from wherever you're at to wherever you really want to be in life is going to likely depend on more people and very talented people. Therefore, if you're not looking for it all the time, you got to be. So your antenna has to sort of always be up. And the more you do this, the more it's up naturally. Just like we all hear when we're at a restaurant and there's two tables over, they're talking about buying or selling real estate. We tune into that. It can be that simple too, where we just actually hear it because we're so tuned into it. But the other thing that I got really good at and helped me a lot early in this journey was I just called my business partners. I called all the people that I was sending loans to, or sending title and escrow business to, or sending
Repairs,
home inspections to. If I either gave you business and or if you wanted my business but didn't yet have it, I just made it very clear, like, hey, Chad, last year we did 50 loans together. I want to be able to do 51 in the next 12 months, or maybe even 100. But here's the only way that can happen. I need you to help me identify talent for my business. Here's what I'm looking for. You know what we're all about. I'm not saying you're responsible for me hiring them. I'm saying I need you to introduce me to them. Can you do that? Or are we going to stay at 50 forever? And then, are we going to be at 0 forever? And I did, I would go to people's office, I would go have coffee with them, and I would just tell them, this is how you win me over. You can't write me a check. You're not going to buy me lunches. I don't care about any of that. I care only about talent. And if you're going to help my business grow, then I will help your business grow. And if you're not going to help my business grow, then I'm going to treat you the same way.
Bob, we're hearing about it from a guy who is talent, right? You just twisted, Kevin. We've all heard, I'll get it wrong probably. Zig Ziglar is known for he's known for so many quotes. One of them being, you can get anything you want in life when you help everyone, or you help others get what they want in life. Whatever the quote actually is, forgive me. I've always taken that as just be a good person helping others. Yet it's like you're saying, you can sell 10 homes a month. Yet if you can give somebody the ability to sell 5, and someone else the opportunity to sell 5, and someone else to sell the opportunity to sell, now you're doing 15 a month. And you're getting what you want, which is more listings, which means more income, more exposure, more business by helping them. Folks, it doesn't have to be some wide, you're just this good person always giving. It can mean that you're bringing people into your world and into your organization to help them grow the way Kevin has.
Yep.
Kevin, we have 1 minute left. Tell me one thing that we didn't talk about today that somebody should walk out of here, maybe top of mind, or something we did talk about that you want to just put a,
Hey,
put
I
an
know that
exclamation point
question.
on.
Look at him think on this one.
Ooh.
Ooh. He's going to use 42 of the 60 seconds just thinking about it.
And if the statement is Ben Kinney should give me that Kobe Bryant like I totally agree with you.
To me, right? To me, not to you. Just it's in my name too, bro, not just yours. My thing is this, like, you're probably not, if you think recruiting is hard or that people suck, it's your fault. And so fix it. Call more people, recruit more people, care about more people, hold more appointments, hire more people. When you screw up, because you will screw up, then fix that and then keep doing it. Like that's really it, dude. It is the reps. I had to have a procedure last year, and my very best friend who lives in Washington, in Seattle area, is a transplant surgeon. And I was considering changing doctors. And so I called him for advice, and he said, here's the thing that matters the most. The one thing that matters the most, if someone's going to cut you open, is how many times have they done it? Nothing else is like that is by far the number one factor, is how many times have they done this procedure? So pick that guy. That should be your number one. And we're the same way. Like we are the same way. So you got to get the reps in. If you don't have the reps, like if you're crying to me about recruiting, but you haven't actually interviewed 100 people, like you don't really want it.
I love it. I love it.
By the way, Bob, did you say this guy wasn't strong enough to hold you in the basement?
The exclusive Ben Kinney collector card.
Hey, I got a 1-of-1 I got to show you, Kevin, that's off the chains. I have a 1-of-1 that you will not even believe. All right, you guys, we'll be back next week for do this. I think, Chad, are you here next week with me?
Next week, I'm with you, Bob.
Okay,
the week after you're flying solo.
Kevin, you're amazing, dude. Thanks so much. I always enjoy any time I get to spend with you. In
Give
fact,
a hug
so
to Fred for us.
I made you guys my real estate agent. All right, Chad, one time right before we leave, let me see those flip-flops. Chad's got some flip-flops from Group 4610. Look at that. You know, for
collectors,
years,
these are worth more than any of those cards you're holding.
Kevin and Fred only wore flip-flops for years. And there they are. I don't even think Kevin has a pair of those anymore. Kevin, thanks, buddy. Appreciate you, man.
Thanks, guys.
All right. See you later, Chad. Bye, everybody. You guys have a great week.